Thank you for that word, Paradise. So jumping right into it, we've just got the first creep wave showing up here in the mid lane, and we've already got a flank coming out of this wretched hag, so he's got to be careful. He might get trampled by this Cthulhu font. It does connect. And he was not able to get out in time. He actually skilled the sonar scream, so preemptively chose his skill going into the mid lane and wasn't able to flash of darkness away. And a quick bloodlust coming out in the favor of Team Halunke. So this is going to be really, really strong for them to try and pick up a commanding lead in this game. And it's kind of funny because I thought the aggression was going to be coming out from the side of Team Tim. And by the way, guys, okay, in the bottom lane, Electrician's taking a lot of pressure. He's got the electric shield up. He is going to be able to escape under the cover of the tower, and health pots back up. But what I was going to say is I am actually going to be solo casting this tournament for you. So get prepared to get tired of my voice. Just kidding. I hope that I don't drone on and on as I tend to be able to do, but I hope that most of the information that I bring to you is relevant. But bear with me, guys. It is going to be a lot of me talking as I try and observe the events in this game. But we've got a little Comet Stun on the Cthulhu font, a well-timed focus buffer coming out from Chipper is going to be able to avoid the damage from it. But Behemoth is here trying to flank, just trying to look for the slightest misstep from Cthulhu font. Probably Chipper is the ideal target here because Cthulhu font would be able to trample over the wall to escape, but a little skirmish potentially coming out from the bottom rune. Nope, or top rune rather. Chipper is going to grab it. He is under the cover of ward vision, so they are aware that he does have invisibility, and that ward is going to be countered at the top rune for the Legion side. So they know that Chipper is invisible, and Chipper's actually got a little bit of a rev on his own, so waiting around here invisible, and is going to wait for Behemoth and Andromeda to show back up in lane, and is going to go ahead and counter the ward. So really well played, just a nice little bit of patience, counter for counter over here. Chipper is going to be able to actually net a little bit of gold advantage there in the end. But Cthulhu is getting flanked here, but he is really slippery. I don't think that Behemoth is going to be able to do anything. It might be Behemoth that is in trouble here. He is going to get the wall off on Chipper. It's a partial wall, forcing him in one direction, but a lot of auto attacks coming out, and Chipper is going to fall in the top lane, so Team Tim is finding that counter kill to the Bloodlust early on in the game, getting their Chronos what he needs to get. A free lane in the top lane. He's going to be able to secure a lot of farm. Is already nearing 400 gold per minute, but Bubbles with that Bloodlust is the top farmer in the game with 430 gold per minute. So if they aren't able to shut him down, he could wreak havoc for the Chronos coming into the mid game. But Behemoth is kind of just sitting here out of the cover of vision and waits for the commit from Bubbles, who went in with the Shell Surf, and he's playing really aggressively on Hag, and the Behemoth is going to wall him off, and Wretched Hag is actually going to fall first. Can they get the return kill? Yes. A really, really well played from Bubbles, who had the Soul Trap after the Bloodlust kill, is actually going to give him the edge on getting the kill on Wretched Hag. So really, really able to make the best of a dire situation there. And Cthulhu on the top lane is probably going to end up falling to Andromeda, trying to play really clever here in the trees, but is eventually going to fall. So Chronos really low on HP, but probably going to get a health pot from one of his supports, or just chewing on tangos, trying to get his HP up to speed. But Andromeda taking a lot of heat from Chipper, who is hasted. An Electrician in the bottom lane does take a lot of heat. The Behemoth is going to stop the aggression with a wall. Electrician doing not... I mean, he hasn't died yet in the bottom lane. He's doing pretty... It's a struggle for him. Only 136 gold per minute. Not exactly where you want to be with Electrician, but it is a hero that can recover. And it's a really nice hero pick, just in general, against Monarch. Just having the ultimate to counter the always frustrating Cocoon ability from Monarch is extremely strong. And it makes me kind of wonder what kind of item build Chronos is going to be going for. I mean, we haven't really talked about item paths this game, as it's still pretty early on, 5 minutes, but you know, with the GPM count that some of these heroes have, you know, they're going to be able to pick a pretty standard route for their itemization. You know, Kronos with nearly 400 GPM is going to be able, if he's able to hold this, he's going to be able to go into Cleaver or Thunderclaw, whatever his choice is, or, you know, who knows? He might read the game a little bit differently, thinks that it's not one of those games where he can sit back and farm a little bit, and just decides to go some sort of aggressive nullfire route to try and just play aggressive on against Team Halunke the entire time. But, you know, Shadowblade with the Steam Boots and Iron Shield early on in the game. But here we go in the top lane. The Chronos ulti comes out on the Cthulhu-Fawn. Cthulhu-Fawn is trapped. A nice follow-up stun from Andromeda is going to prevent any movement or escape from Cthulhu-Fawn, who is going to fall. And, you know, Chronos gets his 3rd kill participation in the game. So, Team Tim doing an excellent job of shaking things up. And Chipper, it looks like Chipper is going to have no escape here in the top lane. He falls as well. And Wretched Hag was there, he's still there. I don't think Cthulhu-Fawn is aware that Hag is here, so they have the ward on him. They see him committing. And it is 4 against 1 here in the tower, at the top tower. The Behemoth wall comes out, quickly canceled to give his teammates the path to get on the Cthulhu-Fawn, who tramples away, but falls to the Wretched Hag auto attack. And Wretched Hag, you know, despite being 1 and 2 versus Bubbles 2 and 1, is pretty much even here in the mid as the mid hero. So Bubbles with a slight XP advantage, but we'll see what Bubbles decides to make his next play, as he actually has a fortified Braceler. It looks like he might be trying to go for a Astrolabe, but Wretched Hag throwing out the Magic Blast and Haunt onto Shadowblade, who is running away. Bubble Shell Surf, Song of the Sea is going to connect on 2 with the Kelp Field. Electrician and Behemoth are temporarily trapped. Electrician is going to be the one to fall. Shadowblade ports to safety, and Behemoth making the escape with Hag. So a nice little counter gank coming out from Bubbles, saving his carry, who is just a little bit behind Kronos, who has his own pair of Steam Boots and 800 gold banked up. So let's see what item he is going to go. He is going to buy the Gloves of the Swift, so it looks like he's committing towards a Thunderclaw, which is a pretty standard item setup, especially with his GPM count. Behemoth trying to secure the top rune. It is an illusion rune, leaving it for Hag. And Chipper gets swapped in, and he is in no man's land right now. He's certainly going to be able to die. Looked for the counter kill on Behemoth before he fell, but isn't going to be able to find it. So Team Tim with a 7-3 lead here in the first match. Everything looks like it's just going their way, but, you know, Halunke certainly not out of it. You know, their core heroes are doing well. Shadowblade's got 360 gold per minute, as does Bubbles. But, you know, Behemoth, I think Behemoth is kind of the story of this game. You know, he's got a meager 200 gold per minute, but he's one of those heroes that hasn't committed to a lane at all and has just been in 5 kill participations, 5 out of 7. He's been everywhere. It seems like he's been winning all 3 lanes for his team. I mean, bottom isn't necessarily winning, but Electrician has only died once versus the dual lane of Cthulhu-Fawn and Chipper, who, you know, collectively have a 6 death count. So I would say that Behemoth really is the X factor for Team Tim here. And things started off kind of, you know, not so great for them with an early Bloodlust kill for their mid hero. We see the Lightning Stone, the Volt Stone rather, coming out from Kronos, who is more than halfway towards his Thunderclaw now. So I'm really curious what item Shadowblade is going to be going in order to try and, you know, turn the tide and from the carry standpoint, because, you know, Kronos just has about 100 gold per minute on him, which, you know, if you're counting, doing a little bit of math, we have mass ports coming out from the bottom lane. There is a dive on Electrician, but Shadowblade gets swapped in deep. The Cleansing Wind does try to save Shadowblade, and he gets the Cocoon, but I mean, as soon as this wears off, he's going to fall. He's surrounded by 4 heroes. There is the Kronos ulti actually cancels the Monarch Pork, so, you know, Electrician very eager and satisfied with that trade, you know, taking the bottom lane carry alongside his own death. And Team Tim, just further extending, or actually not really further extending, just trying to grow a lead as it's starting to become noticeable. Wretched Hag, had to dip and dive against this Bubbles, who is now committed with a Shell Surf on cooldown for another second. He burns the take cover. Is he going to get stunned? Nope, he is able to Shell Surf away, but Kronos is on his tail. And Bubbles has another Shell Surf coming up. Probably going to be able to get away. There's nobody to stop him here. Kronos does not have the mana to leap after him, or at least doesn't want to commit. He probably could have, but it wouldn't have been a very wise play. He's so close to his Thunderclaw, he doesn't want to lose that, which is completely understandable. Now Behemoth gets caught out. It's going to be his first death of the game. Just trying to find a little bit of farm in the middle lane to try and push closer towards this portal key, but gets punished for it. Can't blame him though. He's been doing a lot of roaming this game. Sometimes you just want to settle in and farm a little bit of creeps, and the enemy team just pounces on you as soon as you get a little complacent. But Cthulhuphant here in the top lane is going to get gripped. He does manage to get the trample away, and Kronos does not have the time leap up to finish him off. Is able to walk away with about 40 HP. Andromeda looking for the Aurora snipe. Is he going to be able to get it? No. He opts not even try. He doesn't want to reveal the fact that he's here. Okay, so, talking about Shadowblade's item path earlier, he goes a very interesting path, opting for the Sackstone. This is not what I expected. I'm actually, it's going to. He looks like he is going for the lifesteal route with the Helm of the Victim. I do expect to see a Whispering Helm coming out from him, and the percent healing done buff from the Sacrificial Stone is going to buff that. But looks like he's just, after that dive in the bottom lane where him and Monarch got killed, it looks like Shadowblade is just trying to commit towards an aggressive route. He realizes that Kronos is just a little bit too far ahead on farm, and is probably going to be looking to stage something with his team earlier on rather than later, especially before Behemoth manages to get his hands on that highly sought after portal key. Bubbles level 10. A level 11 Bubbles timing could be time for a team fight, especially if Chipper can get his hands on level 6 prior to that. They might be able to make something happen, but the way it's going for them right now, Kronos does finish the Thunderclaw. It feels like they have to act. They've got to get something going for them. Shadowblade just isn't going to be able to keep up. If Kronos can get some kind of sustain item, HP sustain, he's just going to never have to return back to base, and he jumps onto Cthulhu in the top lane. I missed the kill in the middle lane on the Wretched Hag, but a very, very important kill onto Hag coming out for Halunke, which is what they needed to get some momentum on their side. And they actually have the gold lead. Sometimes these leads slip away from me as Kronos goes on in deep on Cthulhu, lands a great Chrono Field. Is going to catch Shipper and Monarch, and Shadowblade ports in, but they aren't going to be able to turn anything and get any sort of compensation for their Cthulhu dying. Meanwhile, Electrician just patiently playing his game in the bottom lane, trying to steadily climb up the gold per minute chart. Managed to get a mana boots. A nice little start for that hero. Essential item. Making him bulky. The bottom tower is, in the process of going down here. It is in deny range, so Electrician looking to make a push for it. Might be looking to find a grip. It is going to get denied, but now Bubbles is kind of trapped here with no team support as Chipper and Cthulhu are slowly making their way down here. And Electrician and Behemoth kind of wisely playing sheepish as they understand that they are kind of down here deep with no cover of vision. But Electrician playing really, really boldly here in the trees, just kind of hanging out and hiding, waiting to see if they show up somewhere on the other side of the map. But, as I was saying a moment ago, you've got Kronos here who finally has the hungry spirit, just hits 500 gold per minute, just chilling in the Hellborn jungle, just rotating between these stacks, happy to play his game, however long it takes for him to just increase that lead for his team. You know, I actually looked at it just a few minutes ago. You had Halunke with the slight gold advantage. A miss can drone on and on. Electrician does end up getting caught in the bottom lane by Bubbles and Chipper. So, you know, his bold play of just kind of hanging out in the bottom lane is going to get punished, but, you know, it doesn't really seem like it's a problem whenever you kind of look at what's happening in the meta play here. I think he's happy to just draw all that attention away from the top lane. Kronos just did a full circuit in the top jungle, and he's going to go do it again. He sees this illusion rune. Actually, he's going to leave it for Hag. It looks like they kind of know that it's not under threat of being taken. Bubbles is making his way up for it, but isn't actually going to go there. And Bubbles, you know, I haven't been paying attention to his items. He actually went a tablet route, which I like. I really love tablet on this hero. It's got a lot of fun mechanics that you can kind of play around with. Instead of going for the portal key, opts to go for the spell shard. So he's looking to play a longer game, actually. So, you know, just based off of that single item purchase and the way that Halunke is playing, I think they are happy to try and drag this one out a little bit. Which, you know, I'm not necessarily saying one way or the other that's the right decision or the wrong decision, but that's just, it seems that's the way that they're going to be playing it right now, which, you know, I can't really fault them. I think they just kind of have to resign to the fact that Kronos is going to be farming this game, and he is actually looking to make a play here. He's got his Elder Parasite alongside the Thunderclaw, and they are swarming Monarch and Shadowblade in the bottom lane. You know, the Crippling Pawing comes out on Electrician, but the Jig is up. They know they're in trouble. The Cleansing Wind comes out. The double Chrono Field lands on Monarch and Shadowblade. They're both gone. Chipper and Bubbles are here, but it's too late. Bubbles is smoked, but they just know that they don't have the firepower to take out these four heroes, even with their cooldowns taken down. So they are just going to walk away from that, and Team Tim finds the 2-0 exchange. Kronos. Okay, now Kronos is playing a little bit greedy here. Kronos might end up getting, you know, what I was going to say is he might end up getting gone on, but, you know, the Shell Surf was just too easily telegraphed. It doesn't travel that fast, and Kronos was able to time leap away. You know, that's kind of the problem with not going Portal Key on Bubbles, is you're not able to connect the Song of the Sea to prevent the spell cast, but he'll be able to get it soon enough, I imagine. He's got Spell Shards 1. We'll see if he opts to go for Spell Shards 2, maybe 3 before the Portal Key, but my guess is at this point, now that he's got Spell Shard, he's got the tools to be able to full clear waves with both of his abilities. He becomes a mean flash farmer. He probably is going to go the way of Portal Key, especially because we see that he's got 1,000 gold right now and is deciding not to buy the next rank of Spell Shards. So he probably is pushing for the Portal Key. Wretched Hag does end up falling. A nice little Chipper Rocket song. What's the ability? The Bubbles ultimate catches him, while Cthulhu Font in the top lane ends up falling to Kronos. So Kronos is getting gone on, and in the bottom lane, Electrician taking a lot of heat from Shadowblade and Monarch. Electrician is able to grip Shadowblade, but it looks like he is not going to be able to escape this one. So, and in the mid lane, Bubbles finds a second kill here onto Behemoth, who actually, his Portal Key purchase escaped my eyes, but I see it in his inventory now. So, you know, 3 kills coming out for the favor of Team Halunke, and that's a pretty big deal. I mean, Team Tim has the gold lead, probably, you know, mostly from the fact that Kronos is just able to farm. It seems like he's able to farm anywhere on the map uninterrupted, but you know, that's the exact kind of exchange that they need in order to come back. Now Kronos sees this triple stack Ancients. It's looking like he wants to set up on it alongside Hag, so they're going to kind of team farm this and just steal it away from Halunke, who doesn't have any vision on it. So it's there, and they don't realize that it's being taken right now. So this is going to be a nice little chunk of change and experience for Team Tim to just kind of further their lead. But we have a
light brand purchase from Wretched Hag, who is probably, you know, all signs point to Grimoire on this hero. Andromeda ends up getting Kelp fielded here and gets finished off by Bubbles with some rockets, but Wretched Hag is going to go all in on Bubbles here, and Behemoth is here, lands the Shockwave into the Fissure and the Enrage Stun, and just finishes off 2 heroes in the mid lane. Their main playmaker, Bubbles, is down, so it looks like they are going to be making a stage or a push for this middle tower. And Kronos actually, you know, the route of, let's just say, Shrunken Head. He's going to be able to jump in on anybody at will, start the team fight how he wants to, and then just no danger, right? Able to always get out from Andromeda. And you know, here's the predicted death coming out from Shadowblade, who is surprisingly tanky, but Kronos secures the kill with the Chrono Field, and now it's Cthulhuphon who poured it in to try and save his carry, who gets caught, and Monarch is here, gets spotted by the Vision. So it's a full team genocide on Team Halunke, and now, following that, 6k gold lead, 5k XP lead. I mean, what does Halunke do to get out of this? I'm not really sure. I would say right now, it is certainly Team Tim's game to lose. You know, Kronos is nearing the 600 GPM mark. We've got Hag, who almost 500, you know, probably comfortably coming towards a Grimoire. Chipper with the smoke right next to Andromeda actually isn't going to break it. A nice little ward position, so they are aware that it's there, and they might actually be taking advantage of the fact that Team Tim actually sees it. Behemoth does get spotted, some rockets come into his face. There is a trample, Song of the Sea. Nope, trample didn't get used, it's still up. We have Bubbles, cancels the porp with Kelp Field. Cthulhuphon is going to trample, so they are going to find 2 kills to try and soften that lead that Team Tim has. But, you know, once again, with this item setup that Kronos has, just, you know, able to make the best of a bad situation, you know, just able to escape to his side of the map and continue with that item farming, as he does just ding level 16, picks up the Blessed Orb, making his way towards the Geo's Bane. I mean, he is going to be able to pick off any hero on the other team. I don't think even Shadowblade is going to be able to escape his wrath. Maybe if he gets caught in strength form inside of a Chrono Field, but you know, I think that Kronos probably, with the way things are going and the fact that Bubbles is really kind of the only hero that matters on the Legion side, I think that Kronos is probably just going to be aiming for Bubbles every time. I think if Kronos drops his ultimate on Bubbles in every engagement, there's really nothing that they can do. You know, one of the things I mentioned earlier, and this is why this Kronos last pick is so beautiful, especially with the Monarch having been taken by Halunke early on, is, you know, talked about how Monarch is able to save, you know, an entire team out of a stun lock, you know, from a devastating Behemoth combo, for example. But not the case with Chronos ulti. You know, you can't cleansing win somebody out of a Chronos ulti. So, and Bubbles is the only one with the tablet right now. You know, they need to get additional tablets on probably at least Chipper, who's got 1200 gold, can start towards it if he wants, but we'll see what he opts to go for. But yeah, if that Chronos ulti comes down on Bubbles' face, it's game over. You know, finally Shadowblade has an item that is not like a farming item. He's got a Nullfire Blade, so he is ready to fight, but you know, gosh, with this nasty Hellborn lineup, he can just get kited around so easily, it feels like. He's going to have a hell of a time trying to make any kind of play, as he actually gets slammed down by a Shockwave Bat Blast right here. Just falls instantly, while Kronos is just on the other side of the map taking a tower. Wretched Hag finishes off the Monarch. I mean, I don't want to say it, you know, until it's over necessarily, guys, but it looks like this first round is going to be going to Team Tim, as they do have the 10k gold lead. And I mean, you know, it just, we'll see if Halunke can do something going into the stage of the game where Team Tim has to go uphill There's always chances for a misstep going uphill. It's one of the hardest stages of the game for the winning team to surpass. But as long as they can just continue controlling the map for this, it just gets steadily easier and easier. And it's only 25 minutes into the game. I imagine, especially with this Kongor kill that's coming out on the Legion side of the map, this is going to be, the beginning of the end for Halunke in this first round. And I think I'm not able to see the Kongor buff timing, but I think this is going to be token. In Kronos, you can see the Warhammer is going to be going for a shrunken head. Does pick up the token. It's got a full inventory of goodies on top of a token. And this is what I'm talking about. Bubbles is showing. If Kronos just goes on Bubbles, it's game over. I just want him to go on Bubbles right now. Catches the illusions, some good illusion bait, but Bubbles actually is there in the back. But they do find the kill onto Shadowblade. And yeah, Bubbles, Cthulhu Font, it's all over. Monarch is going to fall as well. We have a buyback from Bubbles, but what are you going to do, Bubbles? It's basically 5v1 at this point. And it is going to be a dieback, it seems. And so I imagine this is going to be a mid-tier 3 tower, if not a CC vote coming out from Halunke. But you can't fault them. It's a best of 3, but if they don't concede, here comes the GG well played calls, and we have it there in the first match, or the first round of this first match, taken by Team 10 versus Halunke.